Hello, welcome back to Bald and Board Games. Bald here.
Board here.
We're going to review Trickerion, the 10th anniversary edition with Arc Alley, as well as
Arcane Arts
by
Mindclash Games. I was waiting to see if you remembered. I remember. Yeah, so our typical review structure here on YouTube, we're going to go through the game in its entirety, talk about the storage, talk about the rulebook and how intensive it is, or non-intensive, design of everything, and then gameplay. And round all those scores together to see where Bald and Board rates Trickerion.
Yeah, and the way that we do that as well is everything is weighted on, I almost said a scale, not really a scale, just weighted. So gameplay is the heaviest weight at 40%. Then you have the rulebook at 25, design at 20, and then the storage at 15 to try and allow our ratings to weigh heavier in the areas where they matter more to most gamers. And to make sure that we're really giving you our true feelings on what we feel about this game is in that final rating.
Yes. So start things off, Trickerion's storage situation.
All right, so back to the normal.
Yes.
I threw him off last time by having him do storage. So Trickerion, the Anniversary Edition, has storage much like the Collector's Edition, where you have all of these individual trays that all fit nicely inside this box. For all the different components, materials that you use at the game, you have this very nice tray where they're all organized. Top goes on that. And then we also have over here a tray with a bunch of the cards, the dice, and everything else. So the storage is phenomenal for this game. It makes setup and breakdown very easy and very quick. The only caveat with the storage in this is, as you can see right here, there's a section for all these cards where I will note this is only an issue while they're sleeved. If these cards weren't sleeved, they don't bounce around. But they have made this game to where they're the storage where you can sleeve all of these cards, and they sit in here nicely, except for this section right there. That's one area where they don't really sit in nicely. Another area is in the main storage here for these. They fit there, but the corners of the sleeves kind of get slightly bent, so this section's a little too small for sleeves. You don't necessarily need to sleeve. The cards are good quality. You're not shuffling these cards here, so you're not going to really have that wear and tear, but it is nice to just have every type of card sleeved just for safety. And then lastly, the other thing that is kind of annoying is this here. So this is nice in regarding that all the cards are in here, but all the expansions are kind of mismatched together in here. So you really have to organize this to where you put the base game on top and the other expansions in an area where when you need them, you can get to them. But where is the Arcane Arts board? Do you have it over there?
The board or the box?
The little box.
The board's right.
The Arcane Arts has its own little storage tray, which is great for all the components. There's only 4 cards that come with this. I don't understand why they didn't make some of these other wells slightly deeper to then be able to store the cards on top of them, so everything would be in this one section for the Arcane Arts. So because of all of that, because I do love the storage, but those little things that do make it slightly annoying depending on what you're playing with and trying to organize it, storage gets a 4.5 out of 5 from me.
Yeah, so I have very similar points. Overall, it's very good storage. Again, to Nick's point, there's wells and trays for everything. I love how the materials are in their own tray, so that way this literally just sits on the game next to the game board, and we just grab them as you need them. You're not trying to sort through a bunch of things in a long well or anything like that. Oh. Great. Yes. Player trays, I like that each individual player tray has its components. So in a 2-player game, the other 2 sit in the box. We don't have to worry about them. Mm-hmm. Love that.
Absolutely.
There are bags. So you have the shards, you have money, and some other stuff here, all in nice bags that sit off to the side. And those bags store with the components in them in the box. So very well designed overall. But exactly to your point, this one is my biggest pet peeve. These cards are just sliding all around. Mm-hmm. There's no reason for that. If they made this a little taller, maybe they could just like had them lined up, or they're just in a line instead of trying to stack them in 2 stacks. As well as the fact that the expansions are scattered everywhere. It took us the first time we played, after we like unboxed everything, a little bit of time figuring out what symbols were on what cards. So we're like, okay, this is this expansion, this is this expansion, and then we're like, oh wait, they can't go away separately. They have to just stack together.
Yeah.
So because of that, I also give this a 4.5.
All right. And then just words of note for storing the game. With everything put in the box, stored away.
Don't put it sideways.
No, you put that one sideways because everything
Oh, I
has a
guess
top
you
on
could.
it. This
That's
one you
true.
can put sideways. The top, it's flush. Everything fits in there perfectly. You can store it sideways because everything is enclosed together very nicely. And even the plastic parts have like little slight divider things that come down to keep the cards separate. And then it does come with a book telling you how to put everything away if you do buy this game new, which is definitely needed. All right, so next up we have the Rulebook. How does that teach you how to play?
How does a book?
How's the read? How's the book
So
look?
there's 3 parts of the rulebook. You have the main rulebook for the base game. You have a Magician's Workbook, which is your player aid. And then we have the Arcane Arts expansion rule guide. There are others. So there's a solo rulebook. There is the Dow Gods Academy rulebook as well. We're not going to talk about those since we didn't play those game modes. Starting with the main rulebook. They do a pretty good job. So starts off, gives you your typical components list. Something unique is right after the components, usually you would expect setup. In this case, it actually goes right into a content breakdown of a bunch of the pieces that are in the box and what they mean. Goes to keys for the symbols. Then it goes to setup. So kind of nice when the components list is just a list of words, and then it's like, okay, here is the player markers. And then you can go in here and see what some of those markers mean. I love that. Player setup and game setup, very straightforward. They have great pictures calling out a number, number 5. You find number 5 on the picture. The cards with the T on the back in this case match the cards that go over there. Mm-hmm. Phenomenal setup. One thing I wish they did a little bit differently on this is for the Dark Alley expansion, which it's recommended once you play the game the first time, just play with Dark Alley. We agree, which we'll talk about in gameplay. They do have lines here that says, oh, if you're playing with Dark Alley, do this a little bit differently. I wish that was a different color. They do italicize it, but I wish it would just stand out vibrantly to be like, okay, I'm reading this section. Oh, let me not do this.
Like a vibrant, like it is that they're like mystical green color.
Yeah, because a lot of rule books it'll be like, oh, expansion. Here's a different color of what to do.
They'll have like an entire box.
Yeah. So they do have nice notes in here to say, pay attention to this. But the Dark Alley is literally just a line in italics at the bottom.
Yep.
So one little thing they could have tweaked. And then going into the game phases. It talks about the game phases, talks about each location, has a picture, Dark Alley, that matches the board, tells you what happens. Downtown, tells you what happens. It goes through all of them, it has nice pictures, and importantly, the pictures are directly after talking about what it's talking about.
Yeah.
It's not just random pictures.
Yeah.
So it goes through everything, and then you get to the end phase, talks about game end, what happens, and then there's an appendix, which this you just probably have to reference at the beginning of the game for your character abilities. This you probably just have to reference for iconography, but it's for endgame bonuses. And then they have some cool artwork, which is great. And on the back, even some more iconography, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Arcane Arts book, very similar. Goes through, says, hey, here's the steps for setup for the Arcane Arts sideboard. Here's what all the things mean. Boom, boom, boom. Here's what they all do. Goes through and says how it impacts the different phases on what you would do differently. And then it has game end and some other things. So very well done. This one, there was a few pieces where it's like the way they placed them was a little weird. So I know like here, roll dice, and then it talks about the arcane worker. It took us a minute to refine that when we were making sure we were doing it right.
Oh, it means during the roll dice phase.
Yeah. Which makes sense. Yeah. I was thinking it was at the end phase. But yeah, overall, everything is pretty straightforward. It is a little wordy, I think, for the characters, where it doesn't really need to be. It's kind of clear on their cards, but there's like a whole page for that. And then the final rulebook, your Magician's Workbook, which goes through. It shows you all 12 magic tricks per, we'll call it magician grouping in here, so you can see ahead of time exactly what resource requirements you need, what you're going to gain if you do it, how much it's going to cost. So I thoroughly love that, where I don't have to sit looking through the stacks of cards. I can just look through this book. And my opponent doesn't necessarily know what pile I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. And then it goes and gives you those highlights of the sections again. The only thing I will call out is this. At the back of the rulebook, or player rulebook, you have all of your prophecies. Great. So it tells you what all these prophecies mean. At the bottom here, it has this note. There's room for 3 prophecies down here. Arcane Arts has 3 prophecies. I wish, instead of putting these in this rulebook, because the Dalgard's Academy has its own player book, I wish they put these 3 right here.
You would still have to use the Dalgard with this, though.
No, I know, but it has its own player book. That's what I mean. This is just the rule book for...
Oh, yeah.
But I was saying there's room for the final 3 arcane prophecies just to throw them right here. So you didn't have to go back to this rule book to try to find what they mean. There's space. I'm not going to dock that in my score, but that would have just been convenient where I could just look at one thing. But it's knowledge for the whole table, so it's not that big of a deal.
He's calling out Dalgard's Academy because Dalgard has, I think, like 5 or 6 prophecies themselves.
Yeah, but they have like a whole player book.
Yeah. They have another workbook for that as well.
So overall, I thoroughly love their setup. They added cool artwork. The pictures were very informative, and the examples were great. So the few little things I'm not really going to dock. They're just preferences that would have made it a little bit easier. But since we played with Dark Alley, we read it, and then this wasn't that big of a deal, but it would have been nice to have been in one book.
Yep.
I give it a 5.
All right.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Did you bust? Goddamn, bro. Bust up my shit.
Spades be flying.
Man. Playing spades over here. Trick. Okay, so I agreed with a lot of what the rule book, what you said about the rule book and everything. So I'm going to try not to re-go over everything. I will start, I'll go backwards for y'all. So Magician's Workbook, that's your player reference. I think that this is spectacular. You don't have to have like a single card player reference depending on the game. So being able to have this, you know, to his point, you can figure out what path you want to take based on materials you need to get, you know, and without the other players knowing. But also, if you're paying attention to other players, like one of our games, you can look at the materials that they're collecting and be like, you're going for this specific thing, and then you can try and snipe that from them on hate draft, which people give hate drafting hate, and I don't think it deserves it.
No, it's part of the game. It is. Legally part of the game.
It's just strategic drafting. It's getting there before they...
That's why you're using a backup plan, which I had in our playtest when he did that to me.
Yeah. What I like to on here is that if they are newer to this game, they do have hints in here for the different sections to try and help you out and figure okay what to do and how to use those areas, which is great. They have the quick little reference back here for like the shards, which is wonderful. And then yeah, this is very helpful when those prophecies come out. So you're not having to constantly be like, hey, can you give me the rulebook? I want to see what this means. Hey, can you give me the rulebook? I want to see what this means. Most of that's going to be right in here for you, which is great. For the arcane arts, again, I think this is another phenomenal rulebook that they managed to condense down in this little thing. It reads very quick despite being wordy. I went through this very quickly, especially if you know the game. You can pretty much just skim. They actually do bold the important bits on here as well for you, so you know. So one action, buy an enchantment. One action, change up to 2 of your Trickerion shards. So if you're just thinking like, what does this mean again? You can literally just go right to the bold text in here and know just like that. And in general, the iconography is so clear, which we'll get to in design, that you don't need to read a lot of this as you get going unless you need the specificity clarification. I like how they broke down the individual characters here into like assignment, place character, performance, pay wages. So there's a couple times where I went back to this and like, wait a minute, so is this the one that you need to pay a shard or a coin for? Instead of having to read this whole thing to try and find it, I just was able to go right to pay wages, 1 Trickerion shard in bold, or lose 4 fame. Just spectacular. Somebody clearly worked in an office setting where they sent emails to executives and they learned how to bold those important bits of information because they knew the executives weren't going to read their full email. So I think this is done very, very well. I don't have the problem with the 3 being back here because there are only 3 of them. And the likelihood you're going to see them is rare. Like we only saw 1 of them come out. And I think I'd have more of a problem if it was in the middle of this and you had to go find it. But the fact that it's literally 1, 2, and it's right there, it doesn't bother me. What I think that they could have done is put them right here on the back.
Sure.
I think that would have been better. Just boom, 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 1, 2, 3, just like they did there.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to shove it into that in case someone's not playing with it, instead of confusing them or something, like just right there. Easy peasy, because everything else is here. That they definitely could have done. But again, I'm not going to knock it for it because it's not difficult to find whatsoever. For the main rule book, I, again, wholeheartedly agree. I like that the back of this has the quick kind of informational stuff for symbols and stuff like that we didn't actually even need because of how good this rule book is. I don't think we ever went to the back of this book to do that. It is, you know, there's a lot of diagrams which are very, very helpful, which is a must when you have a game. It looks wordy, but again, it reads very quickly. And everything is organized in a way where it's very easy to get to right to what you need to learn about. And we only had to read through this once, and I only went back to review the Dark Alley before we played. And even that, very clear, good to go. Very tight, organized rulebook, explained very, very precisely. From what I remember, there was no ambiguity in here where we had to kind of guess as to what things meant. It was very clear. Usually what happened, what actually happened at the end of our playthrough regarding the arcane arts was I made an assumption from what I thought I remembered in the rulebook, based on the wild pieces here, components.
The non-wild.
The non-wild wild. Wiki wild. And it was wrong, but it wasn't because of the rulebook. That was because of me. So I give the rulebooks a 5 out of 5 as well.
All right. So now to the meat and potatoes. We have all of these things. How well can you understand what these mean? How is the design?
All right, so we're going to jump right in first to the artwork, which is absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, you can't see right now, but this board's actually double-sided. On the reverse side of this, flip it. On the reverse side of this is the original artwork, which looks very similar. For the 10th anniversary, which you can denote by this 10 here, they gave you a whole new artwork. They went through and redrew this entire town of Magoria.
Yep.
I think Magoria. Yep.
Magoria.
Yep, Magoria. Which I think is just a lot of fun. It makes looking at the board so much fun. A lot of worker placement games forget to make the underlying art fun. They try to make it thematic, but that doesn't really make sense, or it's muddy. And here it makes it makes sense. You have your theaters here, which align to the cards that you're going to be playing as. You start with the small theater, then go to large and the bigger one, which is purely aesthetic. Like, it doesn't actually matter. Just more spaces for tricks, bigger theater, bigger performance. I love that this whole scoring track is the stage. This is so much fun, to where your meeple scoring points are in the audience here, and this is the stage where you're literally putting your pieces. Your magician goes on stage, everything else goes backstage to help out with the tricks. I think that is phenomenal. The tokens and dice. So tokens, solid wood pieces for those that need to be wood pieces, like all the trick pieces we have here. Very colorful, very clear. The punch outs, again, these don't need to be wooden. These also are very, very clear. They have the dots on them, 1, 2, and 3, so you know the different levels very quickly right away. They're also color coded, and it's right here as well. So you will never not know that a color of this, 1 dot is 1 coin, 2, and the reds are 3s. Very, very easy to understand. For the board itself and the different areas where you go to, again, iconography is very, very clear here. So here you spend 3 energy to do this action, which is to take A or B. It's in a circle, which means it's one of the little worker tokens, which has the same circle with a little boop on it, based on what's here. And that will go to you. And then here, same thing. You do A or B, and you get to take a card. Here, A or B, and you take money based on the die. Like, it's just all so clear. Energy, and it's consistent from here to here to here. They didn't do anything overly fancy between them. So once you understand one set of iconography, it carries over everywhere. There isn't anything that I find on here that is especially confusing. The only thing that took us a second to learn was the prophecies. Like, there's one prophecy where it references this section, it has a ×2 in the box, and at first we did it wrong. We did ×2 for everyone up here. But if you look at the chip closer, the ×2 is actually in a dotted box below it, so it's only for this stuff. So again, that, once you actually look at it closer, is easy to understand. So design-wise, for the look and understanding, is spectacular. The cards are a nice linen finish. I just have them sleeved to keep them nice. But honestly, if you don't sleeve them, they will probably stay very nice for very, very long. Yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about the design whatsoever. Design gets a 5 out of 5 from me. And I didn't even touch on the metal coins and the bags that came with it, but those are phenomenal as well.
I'll start there.
Sounds good.
Metal coins. Great.
Metal coins, great, done.
I have a reason for the metal coins here, to bring these out, which is, let's grab some. Where are they? Where are they? Of course, I'm not going to find the ones I want to find now.
You want the gold one?
Whatever, doesn't matter. So metal coins are great. So we'll go right to my player board here. So you have a bunch of different coins, different sizes. Thank you.
Literally right there.
Oh, no, I thought there was...
There's only 4.
I thought it was 5.
No, there's only 4.
All right. So metal coins are awesome. They look cool. Each of them, you have Dalgard, you have the Arcane Drachma.
Bring them onto the board. It's hard to see on the dark table.
That's valid.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. So you have different coins. Each have kind of different symbology on them related to magic. The one thing that bothers me about the coins is...
Bring them over here. Because you're the shot. Oh. It's just the light here, so they can actually see them. If you're going to talk about what they look like, I want to make sure they can see them. There you go.
There we go. Yep. All right, so you got a bunch of coins. They all have symbols on them. They all have an M on one side. We have coin on the floor now again. Typical. We'll get to that.
There's no dogs in there,
so it looks really cool. The only thing we had to infer was the values.
Yeah.
Which is fine. We just assumed 1, 5, 10, 20. I just wish that was kind of marked on the coin somewhere to say this is what the value of the coin is. But not that big of a deal. But they do look really cool. They're nice metal coins. Great. So we'll just toss these back into said box. We also never really got to a point where we needed 20s.
Yeah.
In this game.
In the base game, for those of you who have the base game not having the metal coins, the silvers are 1s, the golds are 5s, and you have significantly more of them. So with the metal coins, they gave you more of a variety of coins. So it seems like the small ones are the 1s.
Yeah.
And then you have your 5s, 10s, 20s, like typical.
So continue with design. I'll go to the player boards here. I like, to the point, the artwork. The artwork looks really cool. For the different specialists, which is this little sideboard here, you have a male side and you have a female side. So you can choose your preference on them. They do nicely stack, so as you get more, they'll literally stack side by side, perfectly in line with the main game board, your main player board. I like how you have these little tokens that represent your workers, nice and clear, as you mentioned, how much energy or power you get, what their symbol is. It goes right in the spot. Even shows you how much you have to pay for that symbol. So all the iconography is super clear. To main game board, again, I'm not going to overdo it. Artwork's great. Each section is very clear and separate. So it's not like they're overlapping each other. It's very clear. This is downtown. This is what all the actions are. Market, Dark Alley. Even if you go to the Arcane Arts board, you have all of the actions down there as well. So, iconography, super clear. Artwork behind the scenes, great. Nice little town in Italy here, I think.
It's nowhere.
Is it nowhere? It's
Magoria.
Magoria in Italy now. I think I saw this and assumed Venice-ish.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, super cool artwork. All the cards, again, are very clear. They're very nice. You have the actual trick cards here. So let's go back to my board. You have the actual trick cards, which are very clear on what the material cost is. One little thing that kind of bothered me is the fact that it's just in the middle is the rewards. I wish the rewards were on the bottom, because these kept like moving, because I'm me. And covering them.
That's a you problem.
That's a me problem. It's not part of the story, but I was like, I wish it was just on the bottom, like what the benefits were instead of in the middle.
No.
And then even the special assignment cards, very clear that says, okay, here's the color location in which you're going to use this card. Here is the specific action at that activity or at that location that will gain you this special benefit. So very clear. Nicely done. Which I realized is something else I messed up last game, but
what's that?
I forgot there was the +1 because I had one I couldn't use. I think.
Oh, you could have used the additional.
I could have just used the +1.
Yep.
Water under the bridge at this point. So yeah, I think design was really well done.
Shards are fun.
Yeah, shards are fun. You have the actual Trickerion shards in the bag there.
Like fire.
You have the arcane shards, which are cool. Little green, vibrant, monster-looking ones.
Very. I mean, the regular shards are very fire tower-esque, and then the newer ones here, so you guys can see,
very wildfire-esque. Wildfire tower.
Dragon fire.
Yeah, well, that's wildfire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 5 out of 5 for me for design.
Nice. Okay, everyone. Now the biggest piece of the pie. Gameplay.
Yeah. So quick overview of gameplay. You play 7 rounds. Each round will result in players placing different location cards based on the different workers they have.
Face down.
Face down to start. Once everyone's done that, we put them all face up at the same time. Then we go about placing them on the game board. So if I had a magician with 3, I can place them here or wherever. And then you take actions one by one based on turn order here. And work on gathering people, cards, and cash, gathering materials, gathering Dark Alley, special assignment cards, which give you comboing effects or shifting the prophecies around, and then obviously going to the theater performing the tricks that you've been working together and gaining points off of them. So, base understanding is it's very simple. It's very strategic, but very simple. You just go to these different areas, do some stuff, but you got to do them in the proper order. You got to make it work correctly.
Simple understanding, strategic in gameplay.
Yeah, simple concept.
Simple concept.
Concept. So, for...
What's that word you used to say all the time? You just said weird that I hated.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, God. I feel like it was in Siberian Guard. Anyway.
I don't remember.
Think of it.
Okay, so before I give my thoughts, I will say that, as we mentioned at the beginning, we've added Dark Alien, which is something you should always do.
Yes.
We've also added Arcane Arts in, which is another little expansion board, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yep.
And we added in the player B-side, so the players have a special ability. Those are the 3 pieces. We think that they all blend very well together. Yep. It's not like one thing you have to focus on more than the other. It all kind of works out well together. Yep. So we're going to include it all in this review. All right. So thoughts. Let's start here again. So one, going through the turn order, I love that the dice get randomly rolled, but unless Nick's rolling them.
Rather I roll 4 X's in one roll.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
This is amazing.
It was everything I needed X'd. That's what cost me the game, was him rolling these dice.
And I had the trickster to allow me to put X's when I need to. I'm fine.
Yeah. So I like that they're randomly rolled, but there's also the ability on the board to change them.
Yeah.
Then you select these locations. I like that these are selected pre-turn. So you select them all, we all flip them face up, so now I'm like, oh, I'm going to the theater twice. Who else is going to the theater? Oh, neither of them. I can save this for later. I don't need to worry about it right now because no one else can go there. So I thoroughly like the fact that I can see what everyone else is doing and what value they have there to plan out my order of attack. Which came into play multiple times where I'm like, I need to go downtown. I'm second. Damn, the person who's in first is going downtown. And now I need to rethink how I'm going to do what I need to do. Yep. So there's that part. Then you go to the board and start doing all the actions. For the actions, let's go to each section real quick. Thoroughly like Market Row. Market Row is great. You have different materials here you can buy. Cost is clear. If you want to add new ones in, such as that, you can pay 1. Next turn, this one will get replaced. So you can kind of hate draft almost and replace something you know your opponent wants but doesn't have cash for right now. But they still get the whole current round to buy it. That won't get replaced till next round.
If you don't want to wait.
If you need that specific material though and don't want to wait, you can pay 2 energy, go here and buy it, but it's going to cost a little more. So I like all the options. For the Dark Alley board, it's very clear. You can go here, you can gain special assignment cards. I like the fact that in this version, unlike the version 10 years ago, you can actually take 2 cards, look at them, choose one, put one to the bottom of the deck. So you get some variety, where in the other versions you just grab one, I think. That's
what it looked like. We haven't played the original, or we
played on
the original board preparing for this because Bazaar, who played with us, has the original one. And on there, the iconography just had 1 card, so it looked like it was like, oh, just take your card.
Yeah. So I do like the selection ability. I do like the fact that you can move around the prophecies and stack it either to help you or screw someone else over the following round. Theater. Thoroughly enjoy. You have preparation areas where you can add your little tokens to the player board. So if I go bloop, right here, boom, I can now add this. And this symbol here has to match whatever symbol of the trick you're doing is. You can gain different bonuses. You can, if you're the performer, you're gaining even more. So I really like how they built this whole thing. And it processes left to right. But if you're going to perform on a Thursday, you have a deficit. We don't understand why, but if you perform on a Sunday, you get more. So I thoroughly like how they built this whole section, where it really comes down to strategy of placing everything, but also when you're performing and how the prophecy impacts your performance and everything like that.
This has nothing to do with the day. This is just gameplay. Like, if you choose to go last, you'll get a better bump.
No, I know.
Okay.
We're like, this makes no sense. No.
Yeah. Well, that's where this comes in. Because people are not coming.
So there's for the Arcane Arts board, we have different things. You can gain a new individual. You can set these dice, which help with scoring based on your symbols if you're the performer. You can gain these enchantments, which can replace your resource requirements one time only, and you can upgrade your shards from a normal shard to an arcane shard. So really cool options available, which definitely came into play. Like, I focused heavy on that.
You did.
Which works great at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Does not work great at the end of the game, I realize.
Because then you have fewer things.
Because then I don't have the materials that I need to keep doing it, unless I keep going down there and buying more and more.
Yep.
The last section, as I saved this for last, is this one here. This one I don't necessarily like as much. So I like the dice rolling piece. This here allows you to buy either more apprentices or specialists. So you can add more sideboards, gives you more people, gives you more abilities on those boards. Here you can gain your tricks. I love this one. You can gain your own trick as long as this isn't an X, or you can gain a trick from a different column if it matches the symbol. So I like that strategy aspect where I don't really know. I've seen the dice before I set the cards, but I don't really know what's going to come out. So I can't necessarily play them perfectly 2 turns ahead because I don't know what's going to be available. But if I go there first, I can set that die. And then here again, the cash. The reason I don't like this section is if you have a magician, which is a value 3, that's the highest value of a player worker token. If someone else goes here first, because you just happen to be second in turn order, if you go here, there is no way for you to set these perfectly. Or, sorry, you can if you have all of it.
If you're last.
If you're last. So if you're here, you have to have a value 3. That's what I meant. So if I wanted, let's say in one round, I prep my cards, because this would happen before we all go, and I said, I need to go perform. But I'm going to plan it where I'm going to buy a trick, I have the materials for the trick I want to buy, so I'm going to workshop it, then I'm going to perform. Well, a magician has to perform. Well, that means a 3 can't go here, a 2 has to go here, and if a 2 goes here, I can only make this a 4. Now I have to roll a die and hope to get the symbol I want.
You can make it a 5.
No, you can't. 2 plus 1 plus 1 is 4.
Plus 1.
If you had a special card. Only if.
Yeah, but
that's all.
I don't know, but I'm just saying, though, you're playing with Dark Alley, like I was saying, that's part of the base game, like, it comes into, like, being a contingency plan because you know it's such a hot area.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not going first.
Yeah. So only if you're playing with Dark Alley, you can even increase it to a 5.
Yeah.
Only if you're in the first 2 spots.
Yeah.
Because this one will get closed off in a 3-player game.
Yep.
To me, that adds a little bit too much randomness, where it can really screw your whole turnover if one person goes there and you're like, man, I really don't have the ability to do anything here now. And the only thing that... Oh, found it. It was on my chair. The only thing that I can do, let's say, if I didn't have enough resources or power points, whatever you call it, energy points, to do anything here is I can just turn them face down and be like, I'm going to idle them. I don't have to pay them this turn. So there's there's nothing else I can do. So that's one thing that just bothers me. It's like, I wish there was, if there is a scenario where I'm like, oh, I literally can't do anything. I had a 1, and I was stuck here. Okay, that's 1. I can make it a 2, maybe make it a 3. But I'm like, okay, maybe this was taken, and I was looking for money. Well, I can't get money now. What do I do? And I can be like, oh, I just flip them face down. I don't have to pay them. But that doesn't help me if I needed money. So I wish there was always a way to at least be able to re-roll a die and buy something. So I wish the minimum you would have, regardless of who you put there, is you could get to 4.
Yeah.
I think that would make it more fair. I don't need to set the die every time. I like that this is a little bit more expensive. But I wish there should always be a scenario where I can roll a die and then buy something. So that's the only section that was like a little iffy to me as the game went on. Because in a 3-player game, at least 2 of our tokens were always here.
Oh, yeah.
Other than that, the other sections are great. One personal call out, not against my rating score, is because you called out like, oh, the numbers go around the audience.
Yeah.
I wish it went the opposite way. I wish you went from the back of the theater close to front row. So the higher points you get, the closer you are to front row because you're doing that well. But that doesn't affect my points. That's just me being a numbers guy. Because like you're more famous in the front.
What in the early, I don't know what the original version of this game was, but they may have only had like the 2 scoring rows, and so this may have been added in afterward. Like this
probably because this is the dark alley.
Yes, this outside may have just been actual audience just in the balcony watching, and here's so it was all meant to be just the front row. Yeah,
but okay. I know there's a lot of ranting. Overall, again, I thoroughly enjoyed playing the game. We've played it 4 times, I think, now.
Yeah.
It's been fun. I do like all the different variety. There are things that randomly impact it in a fun way, like the prophecies, or just how you combo. You're like, boom, nailed it. But this one was the one that irked me. So, with that, I am going to give gameplay a 4 out of 5.
All righty. Okay, my turn, folks. I'm not going to go on as long because you covered a lot of like how the game plays and everything that goes on. So first I'll start off with the disagreement.
Yeah,
so I think this is just fine. And the only reason why this area is just fine is because whoever's in last place goes first. So that means if you're in last place, you get first dibs over this to begin with anyway. So that's boom. And whoever's in second place gets to go second. So the other person who gets screwed by the whole situation you said is if you're in first place because you go last. So that balances that whole situation out for me there. The one thing I do wish, and this is consistent for every area on the board, is I wish that this spend a shard to gain an energy was not a one-time for the area, but a one-time per action you took. So then, like you could...
Oh, yeah, that would be great. That would balance it for me.
So then you could use a shard to do this.
Yes.
And then, boom, whatever. And then you could do
yes.
multiple things potentially. Because then, like, yeah, sure, the dice get wiped out faster, but then it just means more people are either going to have to spend 2 to set or spend 1 to roll and hope they get something.
Yeah.
So I think that this is a little too restrictive. 1 shard, 1 time per each entire area. That's kind of ridiculous to me a bit. The market row, I agree. I like that you have your pieces here. I like that you can kind of just bring pieces in, even if you don't need them, just to try and screw other people over if you know what they're trying to get to. And I like that you can expedite a purchase here, but it increases the cost by 1. I think that's great also there. I do also think for this, though, that because this already cost 2, I wish that with this 2, you could just automatically buy it. Not that you had to do 2 and then also spend 1 to buy it.
Well, it's also weird because, like, you're spending the 2 to put it there. Mm-hmm. You're not going to put it there and not buy it. Like, because it disappears after the round.
Right, because we didn't mess that up, right?
No, we didn't. It doesn't disappear. It says specifically you have to do a buy action afterwards.
Well, this does disappear after the round. It goes away.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I was like, why would you ever pay the 2 to put it here?
Quick order. In some situations, players can afford, for 2 action points, a player may place a component into the order slot in the market row. That component becomes part of the market row stock this turn and may be acquired with the buy action. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So this, since you're already paying 2, because
it should just be a cost of 3. If you're going to do that, I would be like, you get both in one shot.
I mean, no, I think 2 is also fine. Like 2,
because you're paying 1 extra too.
Right, yeah. You're already paying an extra, and it costs 2 to put it here and buy it, which is the same as putting it here, waiting, and then buying over here. It's just you have to pay the 2 up front and the additional cost of the money already, and then you could potentially do the discount, or maybe with this one you can't do the discount. Whatever it is, something like that. But I think that this should just be an automatic, you can put it there and you can buy it right away. It's ridiculous for it to make it a 3, potentially 4 cost to get that ahead of time. That is absolutely insane. For the Dark Alley, I like that you can draft the cards. You can also do 4 at once. Then you can rotate the prophecies that are there. Part of me during the game kind of wished that you could not only rotate the prophecies, but like switch in the newest one that was there for the active, so that like mid-round you can completely screw up someone's...
Which I wish that was like a cost 2. So it costs 1 to rotate, costs 2 to swap.
Exactly. So that's something that I think could have been added, which would have been really beneficial there as well. For the stage gameplay-wise, I think that's smart. Like if you go first, you get to go first, and you get the +1, so you have to put more out, but your benefits are less. So that balances. Then here, you can choose to go last, you get more benefits, but you get -1 to the people who you're putting out there in the middle have no benefit whatsoever. Definitely one of my favorite parts of this game is this little puzzle thing that's over here with the performances and getting those things locked in. So you can go and make the match. I can put one down that matches that chain, so that way I can get the shard and the bonus. But if I'm not the one performing that trick, then I just gave somebody an automatic fame for performing it because I created a link for them. I like that balance that is there. With the trick cards that we have on our tables here, I like that whole, like the main part of this game is you're getting materials so you can prepare your tricks, so you can put them out, which I think is so solid. It's so tight, works so well. I like that you can get different tricks, like you mentioned, from other categories they match the die or your own at any time. And you can really plan in this if you try to. Like you can look, all right, I'm starting off with level 1. Where's that overlap easily with a level 16 or which level 16 is, okay? These ones, so let's automatically start trying to get some of those. And then what ultimately is going to be my 36 I'm going to go for, or which ones. And then you can go and, okay, I'm going for these. And what was fun about the book that we have here that we referenced, near the end, I was looking for my 36 because they have abilities on the bottom. So I was like, what realistically is going to be an ability that I will be able to actually attain to get points for, which ultimately I messed up because I didn't understand the arcane arts properly. But you can look to see, okay, I'm not going to have these things, so I'm not even going to go for that one. I'm going to go for this because it seems like I'll be able to have those. And if you can choose one that's not in your category, then it's going to be harder for someone to guess what you're going for. And then...
Or you can... I stole one from Elliot's category.
Yeah.
Which I already have the materials for, and all I needed was this person. I'm like, oh, cool. Now he can't have it.
Well, like the one I got from the spiritual one, like we never had a spiritual die out there. I had no spirit on here, so there was really no reasonable way for you guys to know what spirit I was going for, especially because I was getting materials that overlapped a lot with my own, and it wasn't until the last time I grabbed that and grabbed those. And so that's just so much fun trying to figure out that puzzle, and there's so many different ways you can go about the trick situation. These assistant boards, I think, are a lot of fun also. The fact that you get to start with one and you get their benefit right away is phenomenal. And then if you have all of the materials for your trick, you get an automatic free creation. So that pushes you potentially towards someone like this. So you can have your trick made. Or you can go for one of the other assistants.
Specialists.
One of the specialists. So this is the manager. This is the manager. You can go for the assistant, which gives you an additional person to use right away, so you have an extra move, or you can go for the is it mechanic? Engineer. The engineer, so you have an additional trick right away off the back.
Yeah.
So they're all very beneficial. It's really, okay, what do I think is my strategy going to be this time going into it? And it's all so much fun and so tight. So, lastly here, the Arcane Arts. I think this board is a very good addition, this new expansion to the game, because it's not overly complicated. I like that this wagon shifts around the board, so it keeps moving to where it's at. So one location is just going to have so many more options for you, depending on what you want to do. These enchantments, I didn't really utilize much in the game, but I really like the idea of getting them. I think where you probably mess up is every time you used it when you had one. I think...
No, I always bought two.
Okay, I was going to say, I think I think the most efficient way is going to be buying two of the same.
Yeah.
So that way when you use it, you still have one left over, so you still
I did that 3 times. Elliot was buying one.
Oh, he was, that's right.
Yeah.
And then the addition of these extra tokens, which just really change up how you can do things, is just so much fun. So all in all, I love the way this plays. My one gripe is the use of the shards, which they tried to correct with this one by giving you a +2 energy for the energized shard, which I think is, they heard feedback probably from the community regarding that, but it still doesn't solve the problem of only being able to do it once there. I think it should be once per action type. So I do give gameplay a 4.5 out of 5 because of the shards. Woo!
Dun, dun, dun.
Bum. All right.
I had one other thing I thought of as you were talking, and then I forgot it.
It'll come to you.
Yes, here it is.
Go for it.
So real quick, side point, doesn't impact my score. Something I wish they did, though. So when you get a trick, you put down one of your suits on the card, just like so. That's there. That suit is associated to this trick now. What I wish they did was these markers that go next to here when you get it are all the same. All 4 suits are the same. I wish the order on these was different. Because when you place them out, you're trying to link things together. So I look and I'm like, well, this is a chain. Well, I really should probably get gears next. Because I know in a straight line, that's going to be the easiest thing to connect. Because of how the cards work over here. So I wish these were rotated in a different fashion for all 4 suits.
Yeah.
I think that would have added a fun aspect where, because you have to choose this right at the beginning before you have any, you got to really think through how it's going to connect.
Yeah, because it really doesn't matter then what suit you choose ultimately, because unless you have a card that specifies the suit.
Yeah, which is only like one down there. But it only matters if you're going for your second one to be like, okay, which one will align to what I want to do?
Yeah.
But yeah, so now we'll be very quick with this part. We'll go over each of the categories, give a one-sentence kind of blurb about it, give you the scores, and see how Trickerion does.
Alrighty, everybody. So, for storage, I give it a 4.5. Board gave it a 4.5. So, Trickerion gets a 4.5 out of 5 for storage. Storage is absolutely phenomenal, except for those very few things that are annoying based on where the cards go or how the cards are stored and kind of shifty shift. But overall, nothing moves, sits flat, you can store it flat or vertical, and everything will get out to the table very quickly and put away just as quickly.
He's in his DJ era. Rulebook. I gave it a 5. Bald gave it a 5. Bald and Board Games gives Rulebook a 5. Very well done. It is very clear. All the diagrams make sense and connect directly to the section before them. The player aid is phenomenal, where you can plan ahead without having to look through everything on the table. So very well done, Rulebook.
All right. Design. I give it a 5. Board give it a 5. Bald and Board Games gives it a 5. Artwork, phenomenal. Iconography, clear. Components, superb. Do you want to say phenomenal again? And very fun to look at. Great table presence. Everything is very, very solid. The coins, everything. It's an anniversary edition, and it shows that this is that collector's edition for sure.
And then finally, gameplay. Ball gave it a 4.5. I gave it a 4. This is the one scenario where Bald and Board Games goes with the lower. Yep. We do not round up. We always round down. So we give it a 4 out of 5. Gameplay, very fun. We've played it multiple times. Very fun every time. Yep. There's just a few locations and things that are a little too restrictive with how many shards you can use, with the market row. Again, I think that limits your potential when you have other players going and taking spots up that you may need.
Yeah. All right, everyone. So the final score is now, and then we'll get to the final Bald and Board Game score. So my final score for Trickerion, the 10th anniversary edition with Dark Alley and Arcane Arts, is a 4.5 out of 5.
And my total score for Trickerion 10th anniversary is a 4.5 out of 5.
So that means Bald and Board Games gives Trickerion by Mindclash Games, paired with the Arcane Arts and the Dark Alley expansion, a 4.5 out of 5, which makes it
a Bald and Board Games must play.
Absolutely.
This is our highest rating of 2026. Highest rating in a while. We've had 4s, we've had 3.5s, we've had some way lower. But we haven't had a solid 4.5 in a while. But it shows. Mindclash has done well. If you check out our last 2 review videos, you would see Emberheart and Anachrony, both by Mindclash as well. We'll tell you they're not 4.5s, but you'll find out exactly how we rated them if you watch the video.
Yep.
But yeah, this one was really, really well done. And you can see this is the most recent version, especially with the expansion content.
I think one of them might be.
What?
I think one of them might be.
I thought it was a 4. Well, no, I don't know. You'll find out.
I didn't tell him which one.
I don't remember which one.
Yeah.
But I think this one holds a higher 4.5 than the other 4.5.
Yes, that is true. The individual scores are the highest of any of the games we reviewed so far. It's there's very few things. If they weren't there, this might have been our second perfect score. If it wasn't for those few items that we called out. But a 4.5 is as high as you can go right before perfect. There's only been one perfect that's given out. So for the scores that Trickerion got, it is up there. I'm very happy that, I jumped into the 10th anniversary edition. If you don't have Trickerion yet, get a version of it. I would recommend this edition of it because so far every module fits in perfectly. We will definitely get around to trying out the Magician Powers, the Dalgard's Workshop, the inventions, because they all seem very unique and like they fit in a lot and change how you play the game. So very excited to continue playing with all of that.
So if you're new to worker placement games, this one's not overly heavy, but there is a lot going on they got to pay attention to. So we recommend playing without Dark Alley or anything. Just play the basic version first.
Yes.
But then incorporate it. Dark Alley is a very easy add-in.
Yes.
That's exactly what we did. We played without it, then we played with it, and we're like, okay, this makes sense. It works, it's simple.
And Arcane Arts, which is their newest expansion, added in just as easily as well. But it's definitely easier to understand once you understand the game overall with it.
Yeah, and it definitely, I would say, in my opinion, plays better, or it plays actually the same, but for 2 to 3 people, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's more fun with more people, obviously, in any game. But it's one of the few that usually like you'll see a gap almost in a lot of games.
Because they cover up the locations, it feel the same restrictions feel there. Like if you don't get to a spot for someone else, it feels the same in 2 to 3, and I'm sure 4 would feel the same as well, and that's as high as it goes. But before we go, really quick, we've played 3 Mindclash games.
We have.
We've played each of them multiple times, reviewed each of them. What is your ranking order off the top of your head for the 3?
Yes.
And so the 3 that we've played is Emberheart, Anachrony, and Trickerion. I absolutely do plan on, I think, jumping into and backing the Voidfall Kickstarter that'll be coming this year to try and jump on Voidfall, another worker placement-esque sort of, or 4X actually, it's a 4X space thing. Anyway.
Nice. Yeah, so yeah, if you're interested in Mindclash Games, my ranking for the 3 we've played, and we have playthroughs, reviews of all of these up on YouTube.
Yep.
At number 3 is Anachrony. To me, that is a big gap between 3 and 2. Anachrony was okay, but there was a lot of things that just didn't work. We also added expansions into that one. It was still fun, but it just wasn't my favorite. Both Emberheart and Trickerion, I loved both of them. Emberheart is dragon themed. This obviously is magic and performance themed. I would have to say, only because of one thing, I am going to put Emberheart first, Trickerion second. Not based on a review, just based on thinking it through. The only reason for that is Emberheart does not have any expansion boards, any changes. It's the base game, and that's all that comes with it. And I think it's very well done. Where usually adding expansion, I think, will make it like, ooh, more interactive and whatnot. And this is still very fun, but I think they did such a good job with just a very base game that it just hits number 1 out of the 3 games.
Yeah.
What are yours? And not going to be the same order at all.
Well, no, Anachrony is definitely on the bottom for me, too. And again, not because it's a bad game, but I think that Trickerion and Emberheart are significantly better than Anachrony, for sure. The which one do you put first, which one do you put second, is very difficult there. I think I will switch it. I think I'll probably do Emberheart second. I'll do I'll do Trickerion first. And the reason being is even without the expansions here, like if we compared base to base, Emberheart to Trickerion, I feel like Trickerion has many different avenues that you can kind of go to win. And it has more variety within that based on the dice that come out and everything. Where I feel like with Emberheart, while you can focus on different areas, there aren't as many. And I feel like you're always going to go to the same strategy, right? You're always going to go heroes. You're always going to go hero heavy whenever you play Emberheart because of the abilities and stuff like that. But this really depends on what's on the board and what the other player is doing as well. Where Emberheart, you don't. It doesn't matter because you're always going to have a dragon to get. You're always going to be able to get what you want for the most part in Emberheart, where here, you may not be able to. You have to really think it through. But that was a hard decision, honestly. Like, which one goes first? Yeah. But purely because of that, I would probably put Trickerion as my number 1 so far. If you've played
any of the 3, 2 of the 3, 1 of the 3, let us know your thoughts on them in the comments here. I said if Voidfall comes in, we'll have that. Obviously, that'll be a while. Yep. We will play probably off stream the Dalgard Academy for this. So we can add comments into our own to tell you what our thoughts are there.
At some point, we may get it back on stream too if it fits one of our themes for the month for whatever the theme is. And if we do, we'll make sure we do a different version of it with one of those 2 and once you've played.
But we have one worker placement game remaining this month.
We do.
So you'll see that next week. It is not a Mindclash game, but it is worker placement.
It is relatively new as well. You can go find our reel on Instagram or our short on YouTube where we go over what we're playing in the month. We do at the beginning of every month. So make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. Follow us on Instagram as well so you can keep up with everything that we're doing and everything that we're playing. So you can take part. Let us know what you want to see, what you want to hear, what you don't like, what you do like. But we have another game that we have to get ready for. We're going to be playing Vampire the Masquerade Chapters now.
Montreal.
With some friends. But thank you for joining us here today while we review Trickerion, the 10th anniversary edition, including the Dark Alley and the Arcane Arts new expansion by Mindclash Games. I'm bald.
I'm bored.
I thought this was something. We'll see you in Magoria.
That was his magic trick. Didn't work.